causing problems at the back.
Okay.
So yeah,
Cool.
away we go. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit about event management at the NEC Arenas. Hopefully it's something that you would like to do, given that you're all event managers on the course. So where do we start? 2 arenas. 7 event managers. I can only find pictures of 3 at short notice. That's my lovely picture of me dressed as Wagner. Which I do actually, I do have a picture of Wagner with my good self from one of the offices at the LG Arena backstage, X Factor a couple of years ago. Last year, over 240 days and nights of concerts and events, including some names that you might recognise along there. But what do we actually do to put on those events? Put the seats out. Any second now. Yeah. So now the audience start coming in. You see it takes quite a few seconds for the audience to arrive. See how quickly they leave.
Oh my God.
So that's one of our events. And you may have noticed there were 1 or 2 other people around who were helping to put that event on as well. You're going to stop clicking so. Lovely. But we're kind of the main focal point for the day. If you look very closely on that video, you would have seen a tall man in a high-vis jacket with a hard hat on wandering around the arena all day. So every kind of hour or so, if there's nothing happening, I always make sure I'm down on the arena floor looking at what's happening. Fortunately for all of you as well, they cut out a bit of the video where my face is really close to the camera looking at exactly where it is. But we can divide our job into 3 main stages. Before the event, during the event, I bet you can't guess what the 3rd one is.
After the event.
After the event. Well done, everybody. You got your first question right. So before the event, obviously we don't sell the arena. We look after the events after our sales team have sold the event to someone, be it a promoter, an organiser, the gymnastics, BSAVA, anyone else. Our sales team will carry out all the meetings. Sometimes they ask us to come along to the meetings as well if we've got experience of looking after a similar event. But generally we take over once the sales team have handed over the event to us. We complete a planners checklist. You can see there's quite a lot on that planners checklist. I've only got about 6 or 7 minutes before I have to finish, so I can't run through every point. But if you do have any questions on kind of the specifics of the job and stuff, please let me know afterwards and I'll answer them for you. Once we've done that checklist, we can put together 2 schedules. The first schedule is an internal one. The second one is a promoter one. Now you might ask, why do you make more work for yourself, Neil, by having 2 different schedules? Well, the answer is our internal department sometimes needs to know something different to a promoter. So you as a promoter to the venue might want to know how much it costs to change the stage size. Internally, that doesn't really matter. So that's why we have the two different versions, because we've got two different audiences that we're giving the information out to. The other things we do before the event, we complete this form, which is a very important form. It's a PEE, or pre-event evaluation form. I will sit down before the event with our security coordinator, and we'll assign a level of risk to that event. We'll take into consideration a number of different things. You may have kind of covered this as part of your course, so does anyone have any ideas on what we might put on a pre-event evaluation form? What do you need to consider when you're putting an event
Safety
on?
stuff.
Yeah, health and safety risks.
Health and safety risks, yeah, so have we got any pyrotechnics, anything like that as part of it? What do you think about the type of audience that we might
Yeah.
have?
Whether they're young, old,
Yeah,
children,
yeah. Children's quite important.
disabilities.
Any disabilities that are coming, so yeah, so the audience that are going to come to Andre Rio are very different to the audience that are going to come to CBB, so we have kind of a different risk level for those two kind of things. Simple things like how many people are actually coming. We need to put that on our form. Is it a boxing event? Is it martial arts? Do we have to write to the local council to ask for permission for the event to go on? All of those things are put on there. They're all given a number, and depending on how high the number is, that's whether it's a level 1, a level 2, or a level 3, with a level 1 event being the most risky event that we have. The last thing we do before the promoter arrives is we just ask for a little bit of extra information. So if they have said they're using pyrotechnics, we need to see things like their firing plans. We need to see the licences of the people that are going to fire the pyrotechnics. We need to see data sheets and everything to make sure that those effects are going to be safe to use within our venue. And once we've done all that, we get to join the event. So the event's actually here, it's arrived. And on the day, what do we do as event managers? We get there very early, tend to be one of the first ones on site. We deal with any questions, anything that might happen during the build. So if you're a promoter and your heating's not working, we're the first person that you would contact. If your IT's not working, we're the first people that you contact, and then we call the service desk. And then once kind of everything's all built and all up, we would come along to a security briefing. We have two security briefings, one with the promoter of the show and one with our own stewards. And then we'd also go along to kind of special effects inspections. We'd make sure we're there when the barrier's being installed, and just generally be there at every important point during the day. We would make sure that the venue's safe for the audience. You don't want to open up. If there's something that, a cable that they might trip over, if there's some rigging that doesn't look right, ourselves and the event safety representative, the ESR, do an inspection to make sure that the venue is safe and ready for everybody to come in. Through the event, we generally watch some of it if we're lucky. If we're unlucky, we're there dealing with kind of complaints or any other things that might arise during the show. And we just monitor everything to make sure it's okay. And finally, we leave late. Normally the first one's there, and the last one's to leave as well. You've got to be there to make sure that every aspect of the event is running according to plan. After the event, what do? We fill in some reports. We fill in an AA report, a duty report, a planner's report, any other report that you can think of. We love to fill in reports. There's nothing better than that, so we fill in lots of reports. We issue the final costs. If you're the promoter of a show, you want to know how much that show's cost you, and you want to know on that night, which is why we have to issue them on the evening straight to the promoter so they know exactly how much money they've made. We would respond to any feedback that gets sent in. It might be a feedback card, it might be an email, it might be a phone call. And then we'd review any other kind of reports that have come to us from other departments and make sure anything that are on those reports have been actioned and dealt with. And finally, we get to see. So, would you want to be a part of the Arena's event management team? Who wouldn't? Thank you very much.
That was really good.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the riskiest event that you've had to work on in terms of your PE?
In terms of the PE, probably the riskiest one that I have ever done would be the darts. where we changed the National Indoor Arena into Birmingham's largest public house for the evening. You have 5,500 drunkards who turn up. They're there from about 5 o'clock till 11 o'clock, so they have 6 hours worth of drinking time. And by the end of the evening, it can tend to get a little bit fun. My favourite radio call from the last darts event, they asked us to report, all the stewards have to report any kind of issues that are happening, and anyone who's ejected, they also have to report to the control room. So the call came through from the stage, and I said, oh, we've just ejected 2 IC1 males, sorry, it was 1 IC1 male and 2 IC1 females through the stage door. So the control room person said, okay, that's great, could you give us a little bit more of a description as to what they look like? And the answer came through and said, it's 2 nuns and a bishop. And they were in fancy dress. Funnily enough, you pick them up on camera quite easily, so yeah, that's probably the riskiest event that we do. Anyone else?
How many famous people have you met?
Oh, wow, I tell you what. I've met loads, I've met thousands. Wagner, who I alluded
I said
to
famous.
earlier. Famous people. Okay, we'll move on to famous people. Have any of you heard of Neil Diamond?
Not old enough.
I've met him. One Direction, I met them kind of before they were famous, when they were on their X Factor tour. Saw them. Bumped into James Blunt in the corridor backstage at the NIA. Never saw Rihanna, to be honest. She was still in her dressing room until about 10:15 before she started, an hour and a half late or whatever. One of the nicest people was actually 50 Cent, believe it or not. 50 Cent, the rapper. Very nice man. He stopped, and we have all the local crew waiting outside the back after a show to go in, and a lot of the time the productions are on, they keep them all out in the pavilion or outside. But 50 Cent made sure that all his crew who were taking down the stage at the end of the show were all lined up there, and he came along and shook their hands and thanks a lot for helping, thanks for your help guys, and then got on his bus and left. So he was quite a nice chap.
Do you ever